Hi guys, this is your girl Lishajoya. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you haven't hit that like or subscribe button, please do so. You're not required to do so. But I'm being mauled by a chorizo. I just come back from 4 hours of doing DoorDash and Uber Eats. I do multi-app when I am out because sometimes you can catch something where you can get one thing but you can't get the other. Chorizo. I'm gonna have to kick Chorizo out. Chorizo wants hugs. Okay, well Chorizo wants to be in the channel. Okay. I was missed. Okay. I missed you too. I'll be doing something. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, today I spent 4 hours on DoorDash and Uber Eats, and uh, yesterday with my husband I went for another 6 hours, and then the day before that I went for 2 hours, 2 hours and 19 minutes ish. And the reason why I'm starting DoorDash and Uber Eats again and become active again is because my hours at my job are being cut because of, I don't know, our sales are down, labor is high, gotta save hours, so you gotta cut the person that they can cut. Today's so starting to get on my nerves. I'm about to go kick him outside. You know I love him so much. Um, so and oh my god, Teresa, stop it. Okay, I gotta put Teresa down. Alright, alright. Yeah. Okay, up. This is real life, y'all. Anyways, I wanted to see if I can remotely make how much I make it work. So say for example, I lose 2 hours at work, I gotta make at least $34. You know what I mean? To kind of like make up for that, plus a little extra for the gas and the wear and tear on the car. And in doing so, I was going to show you my DoorDash app real quick. Like I said, I'm finally back into doing this. Let me go back to this, go back to earnings. Let's see. This is how much I've made with um, DoorDash right here. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that. Hold on. I don't know. Anyways, so I only went out for 2 hours and I had to do a double on my DoorDash earnings on Wednesday, and I got $9.90. And then on Thursday, I went out twice because I took a break because you can't just be like always, driving all the time. I don't understand how you truck drivers can do that, but yeah. So I made $38.92 and then another $24.94. This is just DoorDash, okay? And then today, I only went out for 4 hours, so I made $28.73. I made $2 tip on Thursday, but I'm going down these roads, this big, huge dirt roads that they're not even smooth. They're not even rocks. There's no pebbles. There's no nothing. It looks like it's been completely washed out. And you are like driving in big, huge dips and going up hills. And mind you, I'm in the country. You know what I mean? And these dirt roads are just absolutely crazy. So between Wednesday to today, I made 102.47. It's not bad, you know what I mean, considering my active time was 6 hours and 23 minutes. You know. Then my Uber Eats, I'm gonna go to that real quick. Hold on a second. I can clear all this stuff. Uber. Now, I'm only doing the delivery orders, okay? And I have a problem with Uber Eats. My Uber Eats will take me and will try to get me to go an hour away, well out of my zone. And if you guys don't know, I'm in the country, not the city. So things are not close by. The nearest gas station that was taking me to would have been 30 miles away to get to the nearest gas station if I left my zone, if I went to go to it. So in 3 trips, let's see, can you guys see this? Made 33.59 on top of the 102 something. So I made approximately $140, approximately 135, 140. And it's not bad for just, doing it on your spare time and doing it in not peak times. You know what I mean? Not in like the big, huge rush time where the average wait time with DoorDash is 9, 10 minutes. And then it refreshes, so you're waiting for 20 or 30 minutes for your next order. Uber Eats wants to take you to Timbuktu and only give you $12 for 52 miles. So, yeah. And then you get mad when you're out of the zone. And it's also hard to multitask Uber Eats and DoorDash. The only thing that I recommend is to pause your DoorDash orders, because you can do that in the app while you're dashing. You can pause it while you're accepting a better paying Uber Eats order. With Uber Eats, you just ignore it if you're already doing DoorDash. It's the other way around. So if you say, for example, let's see, hold on, give me a second. I'm trying to get my Uber Eats thingy. See, I have 0 cancellations. I'm a good girl. Well, I don't think you can see that. 0 cancellations. That's how much I made today in just 2 orders. Okay, that's just 2 orders. I mean, I can see you can earn more with Uber Eats than with DoorDash, but realistically, it's not common to get them, especially local where I live at. Like I told you guys, I live in the country where just to get to the city center is about 7 miles one way. And the next town, which is the opposite direction, is 25 miles. So it doesn't seem to be realistic. But it's also not bad, to once a week, every few days, you know what I mean, to earn an extra $140. You know what I mean? Imagine it times 4 weeks. That's $640 you didn't have. There's something I want to talk to you guys about, because you guys know I work in the restaurant business. You guys know that I'm a restaurant manager. And I also understand that times can be slow, and you gotta, can't be mad when you get sent home early. You know what I mean? You just gotta just roll with it. You can't get mad at your bosses for doing what their bosses want, because you have bosses that have their bosses telling them what to do. And you can't get mad about it. You just got to be understanding and be more fluid. And if you need money, well, there's different places you can go and earn it. You know what I mean? The thing I like about these apps is that I am able to go whenever I want. So if I get let go an hour and a half too early from work, I have my civilian shirt on or spare shirt in the car. I put that on, take my hair down out of my bun, and I go. And I get as many orders as I can. I try earning what I would have lost at my job. So say, for example, I would have lost 2 hours. I try earning $34. Just saying. If I make a little extra, that's a little, icing on top of the cake. I try not to get mad when I get sent home early, but it's been happening a lot lately. So instead of getting mad about it, I just been supplementing my income with DoorDash and Uber Eats. Now, I want to talk about, like I said, you guys know I work in the restaurant business, and I do get some dashers, They get pretty pissed off when the order isn't ready. Okay, I get it. You're running a business, but the business is also running a business. The restaurant is also running a business. And they're doing the best they can, especially when they're understaffed or they have a lot of orders coming in at one time and they're understaffed, or they're it just got lost in the shuffle, because you never know what their order taker thing does. Sometimes it malfunctions and doesn't even show what the Uber Eats or DoorDash orders are. Sometimes it just goofs up like just like that. And it's out of their control. You know what I mean? Sometimes. And they have to take the time to recall and find it and then make the order while you wait. I get customers, I mean DoorDashers, especially DoorDashers. They get, well, my order says it was supposed to be here. Well, after door dashing and Uber eating as well, you gotta just be gracious and tell them thank you for working on my order. You know what I mean? You're not the one, as a DoorDasher or the Uber Eats person, you're not the one, sweating in the heat and the grease and the frying and the prepping and the putting it together and making sure it's right and sealing it, putting it in the bag, making sure it's all right. You know what I mean? You're just taking the gag, taking a photo of it, contacting your customer, and you're delivering it to the person, and you're taking a photo, or you're getting their pin, or you're you know what I mean? You're just going there. You're not doing the hard work. The only thing you're doing that might be hard is driving. Oh, and maybe even grabbing the food. Maybe taking a photo is too hard. I don't know. So I don't know why some Door Dashers, Uber Eats people get pretty pissed off when their order isn't ready right away. Yeah, again, you are running a business. I get it. I'm running a business too with DoorDash and Uber Eats. But you have to be really nice about it. These people who are working in the restaurant business, who are picking or who are putting these orders together, they are under a time limit themselves. They are under a lot of pressure to get the orders out in a timely way and accurate. And you got to be gracious to them. Someone who works in the restaurant business, all these different little nuggets I've been learning so I can become better at my job, a little bit more kinder, a little bit more attentive. You know what I mean? After being ignored at a couple restaurants, when I say, hello, I'm here picking up for Crystal, or I'm here for Mark, or I'm here for Michael, you know what I mean? And you show them your phone, and oh, it's not ready yet. And instead of getting pissy about it, go, oh, I understand. You're working hard on it. Thank you very much. Just let me know when it's ready. And then back away and go, don't be so far away where you're sitting down, they don't see you no more, and I think you've left. But be far away enough where you're giving them the space and the respect to make the order for you. And then when you get the order, you thank them again for their hard work. And it makes their day better and makes their orders more accurate later down the road. Because they have that good energy, that good vibe that you put into their day that might have been chaotic otherwise. Like I had this one customer, one Door Dasher. Every time she comes in, she always makes me smile. Always, always, always. And then my whole day is smooth sailing for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Time goes by fast. Things are awesome. Things are beautiful. The flowers are growing. The sun's shining. Rainbows are out. That type of thing. But then you get the one set of Door Dashers that's like rain and thunder and lightning and doom and gloom and anger and pissed offness for no reason at all. You're not making the food. These hardworking people at the restaurant are making the food. Be nice to them. Be kind to them. Even your facial expressions. You know what I mean? But as a DoorDasher and Uber Eats person, I thank people. You know what I mean? We understand that you gotta, tell the customer in the app, I arrived at the store and your order wasn't ready, or they're working on your order still, or you weren't even acknowledged when you came into the store. And I forgot about the fourth thing you said, or it's ready, or it's ready. And you can take it to the, and then you take your photo, and then you go to your car, put it in your car, and you drive to the customer and you give them their item and you take your photos, your pins, um, confirm pickup, or whatever it is. Yeah, it's hard driving. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's difficult. It's so difficult. What are you going to do with yourself? It's an easy job. But these people who are putting this food together is a harder job. It's harder to be in fast food and these restaurants than it is for a person just grabbing an order, taking a photo, and delivering to a person. So just be kinder to these people because your energy affects their whole day. Imagine you having to come back to that store and that same person you were rude to that was making your food makes it the wrong order wrong because they're distracted because they're still processing the disrespect you gave them. That's what we do sometimes. Sometimes y'all get on our you all get in our brains sometimes, and it ruins our whole day. You rain in on a little parade, and it gets us down, and then it makes us not being able to focus on the order is at stake, and we make so many mistakes. All you have to do is just sometimes it's not saying anything, just grabbing the item, taking the photo of it, and going. Sometimes it's whenever the order is not ready, you go in and say, "Hey, it's blah blah blah. I'm here for blah blah blah," and they're gonna say, "Well, this person's order's not ready." I'm like, "Oh," I'll say, "Take your time. I'll be right over here waiting," and then just go over there, and then when you get the order, you thank them for it, and it makes them feel like they're appreciated, in which they are because they're providing you an income. So I don't understand why people who do DoorDash and Uber Eats and all these delivery things get really angry and their panties in their buttholes. You know what I mean? Panties bundled up in a bunch, so to speak, for no reason at all. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have been able to earn $33.59 on 3 orders. Okay. And then my DoorDash 102.59 or 102.50 something. You know what I mean? That's 100 and something dollars that you wouldn't have had that would be supplemental. And then my DoorDash, my Dasher app, I'm working on my acceptance rate. I have 100% on something. Hold on a second. Hold on. I have my acceptance rate is now at 34%. It was at 9. My completion rate is 100%. My on time or early is 78%. My deliveries in the last 30 days has been 15. And that's within 3 days, okay? This is within not doing it during peak times when it's not when it's lunch rush. It's when it's like in between those times, you know what I mean? Like right after breakfast and right after lunch and right after dinner. And that's the type of things that I've been doing to see how much I can earn during those times. I've had traveled very far, which took me away from the city center, which is far away. Then my lifetime deliveries is 10. So, I'm working. If you guys can see that, hopefully I didn't reverse it. That is what I'm working with. And yes, we understand you have an acceptance rate, you have, on time delivery, but you can also tell it in the app that you're having a problem with the delivery, that the place didn't have your item ready or the food ready or something ready. You can privately do that quietly instead of being angry at the person prepping the food or the people prepping the food. You know what I mean? You can be a little more tactful, you know what I'm saying, as a person. And this is something that I work at DoorDash and I'm behind the counter making the food when I'm at work. So I'm learning a big, huge lesson as a manager. You know what I'm saying? How to be better at making sure that the orders are faster so you guys can earn your money and go to the next dash. Because we know that sometimes it cycles 10 minutes, and then even after it cycles for 10 minutes, it cycles again with no more offers. And you're waiting for 10, 50, 20, 30 minutes before you get another offer. We understand you're frustrated about that, but we don't need that energy projected onto us when we're working hard for our livings too, you know? And as someone who does door dashing, I am learning a big, huge lesson about trying to be faster, more accurate when I, cat fight. Give me a second. I got a cat fight to bring up. Who's fighting? Breaking up a cat fight 101. So, in about, like I said, the past, so I've earned about $14 ish an hour on my free time. You know what I'm saying? Which is not really bad. You know what I mean? In my opinion. Since you're driving and you're on your own schedule, you know what I mean? You're not being told that you suck. You're not being, you don't have to worry about putting your hair up in a bun or wearing your hairnet and being told that your hair is getting in other people's foods and stuff when it really isn't. You're just being picked on for the sake of it. You're not, giving yourself a big, huge scar from third-degree burns. You know what I mean? The only thing you have to worry about is being safe on the road. You know? So, like I said, this is how much I made with DoorDash in the past. That's like 6 hours and something time. That's 6 hours of door dashing time. That's not the actual time where I've actually been on the road. Let's see. So, dash time is 13 hours and 24 minutes. Active time, 6 hours and 23. So that, the active time is what I'm counting. And not including the Uber Eats as well. I do got a complaint about the Uber Eats though, but I mean, I live in the country. Everything's freaking far away. The nearest town is like 6 or 7 miles away. Imagine driving country miles to the actual city to be able to go get yourself a Dunkin' Donuts or get yourself a McDonald's or so whenever you are ordering stuff on DoorDash and Uber Eats, just be a little extra patient with people, especially if you live far away from the city center and you're ordering far away. Or a person's encountering an issue with your order, like it's not ready or there's a substitution needs to be made. Sometimes, oh yeah, the other issue that I have is multi-apping DoorDash and Uber Eats. So I keep my DoorDash on and I keep my Uber Eats on, and the Uber Eats will go on top of the DoorDash. And sometimes it will take you, it will say, do you want to accept $15 for 8 miles? You know what I mean? I just been accepting everything because I'm trying to get my acceptance rate up. As I get above 50% or so, I might cherry pick a little bit once the earnings starts to become a little bit more. But I just want to get my acceptance rate to at least 95% to 100%. One of my Door Dashers, he's at 100% acceptance rate. His completion rate is like 91 or something like that. He's very, very high up. He's like, him and I, we had some beef before, but now we good. And he was telling me how to do it. And so I've been listening to his advice on how to do DoorDash a lot better. And the other thing is, I really don't like is not knowing the address after you accept it. Like after you accept it, it doesn't tell you the direct address. It puts you on a wild goose chase Like today, I wasted 7 miles because this is country miles, mind you. I went all the way around when I could have went from the city center 4 miles to the person instead of going here and then going all the way around and going back to the person this way. You know what I'm saying? And then I had issues with the map, the GPS actually glitching in DoorDash. It was such a pain in the butt. But yeah, that's what I'm doing on the side now. I'm doing DoorDash and Uber Eats on the side because my hours keep getting cut at my job. And you know, if you're losing $34 if a day, times that by 5. You know what I'm saying? That's something like $200 you're losing out of your paycheck in 1 week. That's $400 out of 2 weeks that I'm losing. So imagine only getting paid. Say for example, you get paid $1,000. You're only getting paid 600. I mean, how can you live off that when you got bills that exceed that every 2 weeks sometimes? Where's the food money? You know what I mean? Where's the money to have gas for the car? You know what I mean? Where's the money, in general? So instead of getting pissed off or angry about it, and I decided to roll up my sleeves and actually do something about it. I was going to stream live. But I couldn't figure out how to multi-app and use my camera at the same time to multi-app. I also did not want to put my customers' faces on my YouTube channel. I'm trying to figure out how to work that so you kind of can be with me at the same time. I don't have my old phone because it got messed up. My charging cable bottom piece got messed up. So I can't, stream with one and then do DoorDash and Uber Eats on the other. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that. I'm trying to figure out how to film all that stuff. And I feel like I'm a newbie, so I'm not trying to give anybody financial advice or anything like that, but I'm just trying to give advice as someone who works in the food industry. You know what I mean? In general, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's just I just needed to put it out there, make it known. But there's not too many DoorDashers and Uber Eats people who are in the restaurant business themselves, who got a feel for both sides of the coin, like I do. And in doing so, I know both sides of the frustration. I know both sides of the reward. I know both sides of the good and bad things of DoorDash and Uber Eats, you know what I mean, as a restaurant manager and as an Uber Eats and DoorDasher myself. So it got me into a way of trying to, combat the problems and how to make it better. So I just been trying to just figure it all out. Also, if my hours get cut, I have a way to make money. You know what I'm saying? So that I can eat and my lights can stay on. You know what I mean? Without the electricity, my water pump won't work and I won't have any water. And I won't have a stove that works. I don't have gas. You know what I'm saying? It's all dependent on the electricity. So, I mean, it's just, and things that are getting more and more expensive. Food's more expensive. Basic things are just going up higher and higher. And instead of complaining about it when my hours are being cut, going out and doing Uber Eats and DoorDash and going from there, you know what I mean? It's been a bit rough, But I do like the flexibility though, because I went out from 10 to 2. My last order wasn't very much, but it was something, you know what I'm saying? And which I'm very grateful for. And I was able to go out. I sat in the Burger King parking lot 2 times, got some snacks, got some drinks, you know what I mean? Just sat and relaxed a little bit, waiting for the next cycle to go through again on my DoorDash and waiting for Uber Eats to pop up. And, you know what I mean? Being able to look in the trees and see the birds and see the butterflies. I don't normally get a chance to do that when I'm stuck indoors making orders myself. You know what I mean? And I just like seeing the weather change and seeing the beauty of the nature around me. I haven't had a chance to really do, and this is another way of being able to do so. The other thing I want to talk about is I had learned to take a break because the DoorDash app will cycle every like 10 minutes, especially when there's not a lot of stuff happening in the hotspot area, and it forces you to go on a break. I would advise take a break. It is God or the universe or whatever it is you believe in for you to go and take a break. You need to stretch those legs after driving for so much. You need to engage your mind besides the road. You know what I'm saying? You need to go and look around and um, enjoy life while you are being an independent contractor. The other thing is I highly advise you guys do is bring snacks, bring snacks, bring snacks. I brought my favorite snack, which is the raw cashews, and I got my favorite drinks, which is those unflavored, unsweet flavored soda waters, if that makes sense. Take time to relax and go and enjoy nature and have a snack here and there and regain your strength. And then when the next one pop up, it's like, okay, no more break time. Break time's over. Time to go back to work. You know what I'm saying? And it's always you always meet new people. You uh, discover new roads you've never been on. You see new things you've never seen. The adventure is very big with these type of apps. I would also highly recommend. This is my hat, my favorite hat, by the way. It's orange, just like my favorite color, and I do like to wear it so I am seen. Like I told you, I live in the country, but even if you live in the city, this is the one of the few colors they can see you if you're on the road, so you don't get hit by a car. Also, wearing a hat is essential when doing DoorDash because the lights hit your eyes, it bounces off the hat and it causes it being like a shade to your eyes, so you're not being blinded by the morning lights or even the dusk lights. You know what I'm saying? So this actually helps shield it. Also, if you're having a bad hair day, like me, it covers that up. So I'm just very grateful that there's this opportunity to make a little extra money here and there. So even if it's just $140 I'm able to make this week, and if I'm not able to go out anymore, that's roughly $600 a month that I would not have had because I'm already losing, you know, $200 every 2 weeks, anyways. So if I'm losing $200 every 2 weeks, then no, yeah, about that much because of the hours being cut, then I gain a profit of $200 that I would not have had if I would have worked at my job. So just think of it this way. You guys are not making the food. Be grateful. Be grateful you're not under that pressure to make food. Be accurate. Just treat these people with respect, and we want you to have the food. We want you to be successful. We want you to be returning customers as well, not just dashers, but also returning customers. We want to give you a positive experience because we don't want your day to be ruined either because of our attitudes. You know what I'm saying? Um, I had a lady I delivered to yesterday, and she was a very hard place to find in the country. I mean, it was like but it forked off, and they were both the same name of the road. And like there was like a sign like right here, and it was like a V, and the sign was right here, and there was no other like crisscross, like no other like let's say for example, this is Dorothy Road or Dorothy Road South. It wasn't anything like that. It was just plain like Dorothy Road, and then there was like the pole for the streets going either direction. So I had a hard time figuring out, and she gave me a little attitude because I couldn't find her house. Like it was supposed to be obvious when she's in the country. I mean, hold on, I got a picture of country. Hold on. I'll show you of that day. I'll show you a picture of the horses type of country that I'm delivering to. Hold up. Hold on, I'm gonna find it. I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is the kind of country I'm delivering to, and where everything is far away. The type of country I am delivering to. Um, so where everything's freaking far away, there's like horses and pig farms, llama farms, sheep farms, chicken farms, all kinds of farms. Where you can, stop on the side of the road and buy eggs if you wanted to, or buy flowers, or buy a goat if you wanted to. No joke. I'm not joking. You can even buy a goat off of these stands. That's how far in the country I live at. And that's why it takes us forever to drive from one place to the other. And also going down these hills and streams, not streams, but these hills and rivers and stuff like that. And also these washed out roads. I went down this one road. It's called Fire or something, and it's where my other friend lives at towards that road. And it's this whole thing is. I mean, you feel like you're about to rip your shoulder out because um, it's jerking your shoulder that much while you're trying to keep control of the steering wheel. I mean, it's all dirt. You're like running into rocks. You're running into all kinds of craziness. I mean, I felt like I was off-roading in the desert, but in the country. And I still managed to deliver to the gent lady. And also the other thing I want to tell you guys about is I've been accepting every order, no matter how big or how small it is, just to get my acceptance rate up. And you have to realize is that people have to eat. You know what I mean? People, when they order, they have to eat. You can't decline every small order. You know what I mean? Because you never know. There could be a big tip on top of that, or um, it could be someone that can't go anywhere because they have a disability, or they're sick, or they got a baby. I delivered to a lady who just gave birth to a baby, and she just barely put her baby down to sleep and just got the baby to sleep. And, you know, you're delivering to people like that. You know what I mean? You just gotta just be a little bit more compassionate, a little more understanding when you're door dashing or Uber eating. I understand that distance sucks and you could assign it to somebody else if that's not for you. You know what I mean? But at the same time, people who are ordering on these apps, especially if they're on a low income, you know what I mean? And sometimes they just can't. And sometimes seeing a person come into their driveway with their food not only brings their countenance up and makes them smile, but it gives them that human connection they probably would not normally would have had. They're so alone and so remote in the country, or in general, or even mentally, they're far away mentally and emotionally, or they're going through a lot of stuff where that one human contact can actually help or be beneficial to them. So So that's the other thing. I don't mean to be going off, but these are different things I've been learning since I've been doing DoorDash and Uber Eats. It's been a while since I've really delved into DoorDash again. I haven't done DoorDash this frequently since I was in California back in 2020 when I was homeless for a year and I needed the extra cash. And I would take my family with me, to pick up some of these orders. And they thought we were going out to eat, but it was really for another customer. But they didn't realize that this money was able to give us the hotel room we were living in, the four walls that we needed. They didn't have any idea that I did DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart. I did all those type of apps. Plus, I worked a full-time job on top of it, working nights. And sometimes I slept in the car going from one other job to another job, freezing my butt off in the car overnight with a wet shirt from cleaning at one other place, and getting COVID twice during this time period. So it's very fortunate to be able to be your own boss and being your own independent contractor, where you can actually contract your own time. Like right now, see what time is it? I've been home for about an hour and 20 minutes. This hour and 20 minutes I would not normally have. You know what I mean? I would be, I don't know, doing something else. I'd be wondering where the money was going to be at, you know. The nice thing about DoorDash and Uber Eats is you get cashed out once a week, and I've got to finally put my new banking information on both of them, so I have to get that started. I have to get my red card reissued all over again. I need a new red card apparently. Um, and then my Uber Eats, I need to get a new wallet, like a new wallet, digital wallet thing again. They've changed things from the last time I've done Uber Eats frequently. So, um, so yeah, if you guys don't see me online, if I'm not on Second Life, y'all, most likely I am dealing with my real life, taking care of my finances. Because, like I said, work has been peeling me away. And then once I get some hours, they take them away. Or, you know, it's like, or I don't get a raise. I haven't gotten a raise in 2 years. Instead of crying and complaining and being bitter about it, I'm doing something about it. You know what I mean? I'm going to go and do DoorDash and Uber Eats. If I am fired from my job, I can do this way more frequently. You know what I mean? I'm not really, I mean, I'll be upset if I ever got fired or whatever, but I wouldn't be like completely down and out. You know what I'm saying? I would be my own independent contractor. I'd be working Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, and then part of Thursday would be a half day, and then Friday would be a full half day, and Saturday would be a half day. You know what I mean? I have a few half days where I have more time here to do YouTube and live streaming and other different type of things that I wanted to do that I don't normally do. So, like I said, just doing this for a little bit is like a supplemental income for me, you know? And I'm very grateful that I have an opportunity to do that. See, this is $102.47. 142.47. Sorry. Okay, hold on a second. I'm trying to remember this number. Hold on. I'm getting the other number. 33.59. Okay, hold up. I'm trying to get my calculator. So this is how much I made in total. I mean, imagine not having this extra money. You know what I mean? How much would this help somebody else? You know, how much would that help you? I mean, just this amount, just once a week going out, and not, and or once a few days only of a month. To be able to catch up on a bill or something. I'm just very grateful for the opportunity, but I also just learned a whole big lesson about you know not just dasher etiquette, but how I'm going to be better at it as a manager who works in a restaurant business, and try to see what I can do to become better. Um, like, how am I going to get these dashes out for the dashers in general when I'm on the clock working in the restaurant? And when I'm a dasher, what am I going to do to not frustrate or aggravate someone who is making the orders for me? How am I going to be a better dasher in communicating with my guests or with my customers who's waiting on their order? You know what I'm saying? Who's basically paying my wage? You know what I'm saying? So this is just something, I wanted to talk about in general. I'm just trying to um, put this out there because, like I said, my hours are being cut. And it's something that's been frustrating, but I'm not going to cry about it. So, like I said, we're rolling up the sleeves and doing something about it. And I have 25 cats, I have 6 chickens, I have 2 guinea pigs, I have a fish tank, I have a little pet frog, I have a whole property to take care of. Winter's coming and approaching. I need the money to take care of that. I just came back from vacation, so my paycheck is really going to be down because I only got paid for 24 hours instead of the 40 that I requested. Um, yeah. So trying to make sure I'm not bleeding too much money here and there and trying to earn as much money as possible and doing something about it. But I get really upset when there's other like dashers. Oh, that's the other thing. I actually had someone try to take my dash, try to take my order. I had a customer come in trying to get their own order, and I already took a picture of it and I sent send. So guess what? They had to go back home and I had to deliver it. So, I mean, there's people who try to steal orders so they don't have to pay the dashing fee. I don't know why they don't come inside and order it themselves to be cheaper than having to pay the DoorDash fee. If you order through DoorDash, I think you're paying like $2 or $5 more per item because DoorDash charges more in the app. I'm not complaining because that's my wage when I'm dashing or when I'm doing Uber Eats. That's my wage. I'm not complaining. But what's the other thing I was going to tell you guys? Hold on. Oh yeah. Uh, Go back to my photos. Hold on, my gallery. Hold on. Oh, the other part of my country. See, like the roads are like this. There's not like buildings close by. There's not a McDonald's. There's no light switches. There's no lamps. Once it gets dark in the country, it gets dark. So, um, and I'm traveling far for orders because people live in the country. So here I am talking to you about all this type of stuff. And it's nice to being able to wear my civilian clothes. And also it's nice not to be completely exhausted. You know what I mean? Like physically and emotionally and mentally. You know what I mean? It's just nice. The only thing that might be tired would be my driving leg. That's it. You know? And I get to come home, do whatever I want, relax, chill. I can watch some TV if I wanted to, and then go back out and dash again. You know what I mean? And make more money. Then come back home if I wanted to, and then go out, get some groceries, and go make some food or do something else. I can go explore. I can do different things. You know? My husband bought me a fishing pole. Maybe I could finally go fishing. I don't know. All right, guys, I'm going to end this stream. I'm losing my voice. I've been talking all day long to customers and in general here. Love to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you later on the next stream. If I can figure out how to end the stream. There we go. I figured it out. You guys, take care.